Okay, sorry, I had a little technical difficulty there. Modem cut out. So we're back. We're kind of moving here. We've been out here at Thacker Pass. This is Peehee Mu'huh, site of a massacre that was on the books that the BLM knew about, had in their records, and said they had overlooked it until the legal case. We came out this morning early. This gentleman, Dean, serving his pipe, 74. We're moving more in place here to see about helping some of this construction. Red Road TV, Indigenous Peoples Movement, Dakota Peoples Law Project, Last Real Indians.
Good run.
You can see they're moving. The people came in on the other road, came in the back way and started up their equipment. And so they're moving, trying to start the construction. Oh, you got a rock right there.
You want to take one side and see what would help?
Yeah, and just push them out.
Okay, yeah, let me try to, what if we tilt you a little bit?
Yeah, that'd probably
It'd be
be.
kind of crazy, but I think it might work.
I'll grab this. There you go. It just got stuck right in.
No, pues no le pega porque no hicimos nada. No, pues ahí los dejan normal, no me pego, pero los deja ahí. Nomás porque yo te quería hacerla y supe que sí la hiciste, si no te mandaba a hacerla. Oh, no, no, está bien.
No, it's good. You guys are
for the people here, the ancestors who were massacred here.
We'll eavesdrop
people who were
here.
killed in 1865 and in previous occasions. and also for people around the world who are affected by this mining. It's not just here, and this is a point that I made on my last live video, but I know some of you, I'm sure, weren't on that last live video. But what happens here is connected to everything all around the world, all these different issues, because this mine will use sulfur that comes from the Alberta tar sands. So we're in solidarity with all the people fighting the Alberta tar sands across that region of Canada. We're in solidarity with the people who are facing destruction and exploitation in the Congo because of cobalt mining that goes into electric vehicle batteries. We're in solidarity with the people fighting nickel extraction in places like Indonesia, where nickel mining has devastated the land. Because lithium from Thacker Pass might end up in the very same batteries, sandwiched together with nickel from these communities in Indonesia that are facing very similar destruction to what's happening here. Different context, different location, different language, different country, different side of the world, but the story is the same, the struggle is the same. So people are standing here, and people are standing up all over the world. You know, here in the United States, in some ways we're lucky. In some ways we're very lucky that we have a tradition of nonviolent civil disobedience. We have a tradition of people standing up peacefully, and sometimes not so peacefully, but in this case peacefully, for the land, for what they believe in, for the future, and for justice. And in many areas around the world, if you did this kind of thing, you might get shot. You might get hauled off to jail and tortured. You might get killed. You might get indefinite detention. You might get all kinds of terrible things happening to you. I have friends who are environmental activists in the Philippines, one of the most dangerous countries in the world to be an environmentalist. Hundreds of environmentalists there have been killed. Hundreds of people. And that has a chilling effect. And so we need to fight for our rights to protest, to express ourselves, and fight for our rights to change this situation, to change the laws, to change the to change the country we live in all kinds of different ways, to change the world we live in. And if you don't exercise your rights, you lose them. And so that's one reason why we're here too, is to stand up and say, no more, this is not okay. The law may say that Lithium Nevada is allowed to destroy this place. The law says that. But we know that there's a higher law. There's a moral law. There's the ethical law. There's a spiritual law. And it, you know, in that context, in that situation, this is righteous. And, you know, Martin Luther King said that himself often. He talked about when the law is unjust, the right thing to do is to disobey the law. And we're in that tradition right now. We're in that tradition today. And that's a tradition all over the world that people have followed in different ways. And so thank you all for joining us. We're here at Thacker Pass, Peehee Mu'huh. Construction is blocked, at least partially, for today. The prayer continues. We have more workers coming into the site. We have more activity, vehicles coming and going. We know the police have been called. There are several drones up in the air. I don't know who those belong to. We're assuming that journalists and other people are on their way. There's live streams going on. There's videographers here, photographers, and people are standing up. Right over here, I'll point to it. That little dot right there is Sentinel Rock, also known as Nipple Rock. And right below that is where we believe the Thacker Pass massacre began on September 12, 1865. It began right at dawn, right about the same time that we showed up this morning. And it happened when a group of soldiers with the U.S. Army, the cavalry, attacked a camp of Northern Paiute men, women, children, elders, and killed at least 31 of them, perhaps as many as 50 or more. And there are many accounts of this massacre that talk about the people running. You don't stand still when you're being shot at. You don't stand still when you're in fear for your life. You run. And the BLM, the government, the lithium company has argued that this is not significant, that this is not important, because it happened slightly outside of BLM land on private property. It may have began there. We don't know. There's only one source that talks about an approximate location where it might have begun, and that source is from 1868. This was not a GPS, global positioning system, modern survey that pinpoints an exact location. This was one man with literal chains, using chains to measure the length and distances out here saying, this is what I saw, writing in cursive and handwriting on an old school notebook that's preserved in the BLM records saying this massacre took place here. What we do know from the accounts, the newspaper accounts of that massacre,
so I'm going to walk back towards what he called Sentinel Rock. We were here a month and a half, 2 months ago. Gosh, something like that. None of these roads were here. None of this piping was here. These huge pipes are for passing the water. Nevada is the driest state in the United States, and they'll be pulling out millions of gallons a day to process lithium. The Biden administration is pushing their green, some of the finest work done towards dealing with environment and the climate change. But what's not told to us about the green cars, we're gonna drive green cars, is that none of the technologies that process this, as you heard Max was talking about down in South America, the nickel that's needed in tandem with the lithium, the sulfur that's brought down from the Alberta tar sands. They're going to burn the lithium out with sulfuric acid they will process here, taking the water out of this aquifer, the Great Basin, where Las Vegas is looking for water, where all of these cities are looking for water. The Colorado is drying up. They're trying to get water from the Missouri, where the DAPL is. There's so much technology that is unchecked, with these companies now talking about how they're green and they're going to be doing the green work, and they're getting General Motors put $650 million that they got from the Biden administration directly into this mine. Yet the industries, the extraction industries, the fossil fuel companies, the same companies that extract, the technology and the way that they extract and the water they use is unchecked. It's the process that will be processing the lithium. One logic is that fossil fuels could be better. They use less than the lithium. Imagine the amount of water that's going to be traveling down these pipes. Millions of gallons a day coming out of the aquifer, the same aquifer that Las Vegas needs, that Reno needs, that Winnemucca needs. Will travel through these pipes. To help extract lithium. The amount of diesel fuel that will be processed in a 40-story deep mine that will be miles across. And you can see in the distance as I walk towards this, they talked about the Sentinel Rock, where a couple of months ago we came out and they held ceremony and dance, and they talked about the meaning of this place. The massacre that's here still lies here. The remains were never reclaimed, yet they're bulldozing roads. As you can see in the distance, I'll kind of zoom in here and we'll go to Sentinel Rock. That road was not there a month ago. This hallowed ground. Where underneath it lies the water. And I'm going to ask this gentleman here. Okay. I caught up to you again. It's live, and I got Sentinel Rock there in the background. Tell me about we started to talk earlier about the legal case and the BLM and what you kind of uncovered through papers that came through in litigation. Tell me a little bit about the case.
Yeah.
And introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Will Falk. I'm an attorney and I represent the Reno Sparks Indian Colony and Summit Lake Paiute Tribe in litigation against the Bureau of Land Management for permitting the Thacker Pass lithium mine. The Thacker Pass is, in legal terms, what they call a traditional cultural district. There are a number of elements that make this land here sacred, a number of sites here that make this land sacred. Back here along the Double H Mountains, there's a bunch of obsidian procurement district, ancient obsidian mines here. There are caves and hills up here in the Montana mountains where Paiute people hid from federal soldiers in the era of soldiers rounding up native people to put them on reservations. There are a lot of traditional food gathering places here. There are ancient campgrounds that they found remains of here. But this is also the site of two massacres. One of those massacres is how Thacker Pass got its Paiute name, Peehee Mu'huh, which it means rotten moon in Paiute. And oral history tells a story of Paiutes having a camp or a village here. The hunters went away to hunt in a valley over. They came back and found their relatives massacred with their guts split open and their intestines strung along the sage. It was a rotten smell. Thacker Pass is kind of shaped like a crescent moon, so they call this rotten moon. But then maybe another really interesting massacre happened on September 12th, 1865. The 1st Nevada Cavalry massacred at least 31 Paiute people here in Thacker Pass. But what's so interesting about it is the Bureau of Land Management possessed records of that massacre in its own General Land Office records, but failed to disclose those documents in public-facing documents like the environmental impact statement, the record of decision. None of those documents mention these records that BLM had of the massacre. And therefore none of the cultural resources work or the National Environmental Policy Act process discusses the sacredness or even the fact that there's a massacre here. BLM did eventually acknowledge all of Thacker Pass as a traditional cultural district, and including the massacre sites at the end of February of this year, so just a few weeks ago. But despite acknowledging that, they refused to delay construction to consult with the tribes about how to handle these massacre sites. Federal law does not stop projects like this for a massacre site. They are allowed to destroy massacre sites, but they have to consult about that. And one of the big things going on here is in 1865 there was genocide here. in 2023 when we have Native elders out here praying on a massacre site, on a place where they're about to destroy. This is genocide in 2023.
Okay. How they had it in their records?
Yeah, so it's the records were in what are called the General Land Office records, which as the United States was forming and started to expand across the continent, they formed this General Land Office to send surveyors out to actually, document what land is here for the government. And in 1868, a deputy surveyor came out here and found the remains of that 1865 massacre, and wrote, this is where the 1st Nevada Cavalry, I think his term was, attacked and whipped a body of Indians in this area. One of the first things that BLM is supposed to do when they're assessing cultural resources is check their own General Land Office records. So either they checked them and found those records and hoped nobody else would find them, or they just never checked their records like they're supposed to and didn't find them. Either way is illegal, and either way they're supposed to once those records come to light, they're supposed to afford an extensive consultation process with people who descend from those massacred, from regional tribes who descend from that massacre, and they never did that. So they don't know how this project, they've never sat down and listened to the tribes describe for them how this project is going to affect the massacre site and affect living communities today who descend from that site. Maybe one of the reasons why they never found those records is that they fast-tracked this project. Under a Trump-era secretarial order, the local BLM Humboldt River Field Office was ordered to conduct the whole permitting process for this mine in less than a year. That's absolutely warp speed. Projects like this usually take 3.5, 4 years to process. And, this is going to become more and more pertinent right now. We have the government talking about fast-tracking more green energy projects, deregulation. It's, we're so used to the Republicans calling for deregulation. Well, now it's the Democrats calling for deregulation. They want to deregulate green energy projects so that they can get these things in faster. But when that happens, government agencies cut corners, they cut people out of consultation, and they do that so that they can meet their deadlines. So, if that's what this country is going to turn to do, then all of us need to understand that there's going to be many, many more sacred sites destroyed, more native culture destroyed, and of course, more of the land, more water, more air destroyed. And no matter how strong your environmental laws are, if you're fast-tracking projects and you're forcing the regulatory agencies like BLM to go faster, then they're going to make more and more mistakes. And when they make more and more mistakes, again, places are destroyed, and the health of the land is destroyed, and then ultimately people are going to be destroyed. So that's something that I hope everyone's paying attention to. I don't believe that electric cars are the solution to climate change, but if you're someone that thinks they are, you have to understand that there's so much destruction that goes into those electric vehicles, and deregulating the same mining corporations that have always been responsible for destroying the planet just because they say that their technologies are green is a really, really bad and probably suicidal idea at this late stage of global capitalism and ecological collapse.
Do you have an idea? I know Max has said, but what other technologies go into the lithium that make it such a dangerous proposition with people where they just say we're going to drive ourselves in green cars into the future? What goes into it?
Well, we have to remember when we're talking about lithium specifically, lithium is one tiny ingredient in an electric car battery. So before I go on, I just this is only one aspect of the destruction that goes into an electric car battery, not to mention the whole manufacture of an electric car. But when we're talking about lithium, especially at a place like here at Thacker Pass, they're going to use a novel leaching process. What they're going to do is they're going to dig up the earth from an open pit, and they're going to leach the lithium out of the earth with sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is not a good substance to have rolling through these places. They have to bring the sulfuric acid on heated trucks. Sulfuric acid has to maintain I think it's like 270 degrees or something, a high temperature to stay liquid. So they have these specialized trucks that have to take them in. Of course, those trucks are diesel trucks, right? So when we're talking about reducing greenhouse gas emissions, you can have these diesel trucks running all day with sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid, a lot of people don't know this, but the main producers of sulfuric acid are oil refineries. Sulfuric acid is a byproduct of oil refining. And so if a main premise of this so-called transition to green energy is that fossil fuels are going to be replaced by things like lithium and electric car batteries, it's going to be really hard to replace those technologies when you depend upon them for your electric car battery. This project itself is going to burn 10,600 gallons of diesel on site every single day. It's going to produce over 150,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions every single year. So this is a project that's absolutely drenched in fossil fuels from start to finish. And that's just to extract the lithium for one part of the electric car battery. We have to remember that all kinds of other rare earth minerals go into electric car battery. We have to remember that things like steel manufacturing go into electric car production. And all of these processes are destroying places like Thacker Pass just to bring people their electric cars. I think one of the things that really drives this home for me is, cobalt is a rare earth mineral that goes into electric car batteries. People are starting to understand this more, but cobalt is primarily coming from the Democratic Republic of Congo right now. And those mines are primarily worked by child labor. 30 and 40,000 children a year are working in these mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo, getting sick and dying. So when you're really enthusiastic about your electric car and your electric car battery, I hope you see the face of a Congan child who is bringing you your electric car battery. But if you don't care about Africa, which I really hope you do, you think about the United States. The same steel manufacturing and coal production that is required for that steel manufacturing that is destroying places like Appalachia will still be ongoing to bring your electric car. You'll still have to further destroy places like Appalachia for an electric car. Or talk about the plastic manufacturing that goes on in the Mississippi River Delta. We all know that Louisiana is called Cancer Alley. Well, electric car manufacturing is going to contribute to Cancer Alley. So we really need to see this as a broader, there's materials coming from all over the earth. So many places have to be destroyed just to bring an electric car. And if destroying more of the earth is somehow your solution to not destroying the earth, then I think you might need to sit down and think about your logic and common sense. And just really understand how much destruction goes into these kinds of technologies.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And this is, as I was saying earlier, we can see this road. Oh, it just hurts to look at it. This road wasn't here a month ago. And it stretches, and this is for water. This is a line that they will probably then, they cleared initially with huge chains, like from, what kind of chains are they?
They are Navy battleship anchor chains.
Okay, so Navy battleship anchor chains. They drag them and clear this path, and you can see. I think if we go down this way, you can see there's just like the pipes that I just showed earlier. Yeah, they're pipes laid, and this is where the millions of gallons of water per day millions of gallons of water per day. And what's the solution? Well, we're not sure what the solution is, but nobody's really talking about it. They're just pretending that these companies that produce this green technology are going green, when, as Will was just saying, the cobalt, the nickel that comes from South America, it all goes in. So people need to understand what it is. And it's not like we stopped driving cars. I heard one of the security gentlemen today was going, well, you have a cell phone and everybody uses batteries. Well, it's true. The answer is to stop consuming so much. The answer is that the stock market doesn't need to grow based on extraction. We have to find ways to grow based on compassion and protecting water and protecting land. I think everybody's getting the hint that we really do have to change what it means to be alive in this world and what we feel we have a right to have. It's an amazing place we've gotten into with the American dream that countries all over the world want, because we spent generations extracting from all over the world, and now it's coming home. And it feels like there's no way out. It really does feel like we have no way out but to collide into the wall that is climate change. But maybe we can think different. Maybe we can change what it takes to be happy. Or maybe we can't. Maybe we can blame it on Biden. Maybe we can blame it on Deb Haaland. Maybe we can blame it on everybody else. Maybe the aliens will come and fix it all, because we don't seem to have the technology. There's this generator that runs 24/7. It is so peaceful out here. There's this generator that runs forever. Keep this little house. This little security house going. So what's going on down here is we started early. Dean, they were right here, just kind of by the end of these barriers in the middle of the road. And the workers came and then came down this road to start up their diesel cat and their bulldozer. We're fixing this road right here. I assume it looks like the pipeline that comes from way over there, comes down this way. It's going to run along here, and then it looks like it's going to cut across right here. So they must have their well that they're going to drill, or 2 or 3 or however many they're going to use to extract $1 million. $1 million gallons a day of water. Do the research of what cities use, and the cities that are running out of water. The Colorado River. $1 million, 1 million gallons a day with thousands of gallons of diesel. Yeah, that's a lot of water. So they moved down here. They started up this cat. And so they moved down to block this cat from working today. The police have been called. We don't know if the police are going to show up. It may be they're like, we'll outlast them. It's kind of like Standing Rock. We'll outlast them. Of course, they had to bring in state and federal and local police, working through SIC centers, coordinating with FBI and what used to be COINTELPRO. Who knows what they call it today. The amount of resources and money they put into destroying the Standing Rock movement, to destroying the communities with infiltrators. Well, there's no infiltrators here today.
What's your name again? Tokata? Can you do me a favor? My son over there, can you have him bring the shell and the sage?
Yes.
So we can smudge over there?
To hide your other film
Thank
show
you.
come out. The one we filmed in Reno.
It'll go with this.
Oh,
It will.
sorry.
So do you want to tell me a little bit about what you're doing?
Oh, I'm sitting here waiting for some action. No, I just say I'm here to defend Mother Earth here. My great-great-great-grandfather, Sam, is one of the Paiutes that escaped the soldiers that came and massacred. So, a lot of my ancestors, have, they're out here. Their spirits are out here. They're watching us. They're guiding us. And this is something that I've always wanted to do. I said, no matter what, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to protect that land for everything that I have. And I'm very thankful to have my Uncle Dean here, standing with me in prayer. And I want to thank everybody for watching and to continue to keep praying, helping us stay in prayer. Mother Earth, what they're digging for here, those are her jewels. They're her jewels. Any kind of miners mining for whatever, gold, silver, copper, or whatever, those belong to Mother Earth. Those are her jewels. And they don't belong to me, and they don't belong to you or anybody else. They belong to Mother Earth. And I just want to say that much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And can I ask you about you've had are you from here, Fort McDermott?
Yeah.
There was a mine back in the 80s, Mercury. What did that do? What happened with that Mercury mine?
It was shut down, and when it shut down, it contaminated our water in the town of McDermott, and I believe that there's a little bit of contamination on the reservation as well. I know there is contamination because the ground, the dirt there at the mine, it was like reddish colored. So they brought some of that dirt onto the reservation, onto the roads and things there. And the other thing they did too was some of the men folk, they went out there when the mine shut down and they took some of the boards off of the mine there and they built sheds and things with that. And there was quite a bit of miners that worked out there. One of the last guys that passed away, a worker that was there was my oldest son's father. He passed away like 3 months ago. I've lost 3 uncles they've passed away from cancer, from working out there, and there are other people that have had cancer and passed away because of the contaminations from out there, and we want to prevent that from happening here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you light it?
And one.
So she was talking about there was a mercury mine, and we went in and filmed the Red Mountain at Fort McDermott. Then they found out that their water was being polluted, and the EPA lined down. And here we are again, not more than, I don't know, 10, 20 miles away, going after the water. Now what's the oops going to be from the EPA this time? Oops, we're sorry. We dried up your water. We got sulfuric acid in your water. We covered the air and ran diesel trucks and set up man camps, and everybody gets employment, but nobody gets the point. How to build an economy on extraction. God bless the lawmakers, in hopes that they will figure out a path into the future that doesn't destroy the water. And God bless the people when we figure out we don't need all the things we think we need. Maybe we can do with a little less and be a little more happy. Maybe not. Live streaming. What are you thinking?
I'm just kind of walking around in a state of heartbreak. This is my third time here. I spent, I think, 3 days here the previous time when it was just ice cold. And I'm just shocked to hear that they've already cleared potentially thousands of acres of old-growth sage. But
what's your name?
I'm Paul.
Oh, Paul.
Hi. It's just the whole planet is a sacrifice zone, basically, at this point.
It's hard to think about what's a way out. When you think about, I know you're talking with I think I overheard a little bit of the rap of like, oh, you've got a cell phone that needs lithium.
Yeah, we all have lithium batteries,
lithium.
so
this is
screw you shouldn't be here. Yeah.
We need to be happier with less. Seems to be the only way out.
Well, and it's so hard to even conceptualize going backwards. People immediately go to, well, we can't live in caves. It's like, yeah, but we could be living very simply. And I look at the way that we're wasting just everything. Like there's no consciousness in our use of the raw materials of Mother Earth. It's just, it blows my mind.
Right. I was listening yesterday. It's just the new election for Biden, and McClain, I guess his chief of staff, ex-chief of staff, was on MSNBC, and it's like, we need to grow in the stock market, and it needs to
more.
build economy, and it's just, meanwhile, Deb Haaland's out touting the whole green thing and stuff, and just, they're not coming up here.
No, and AOC just relaunched the Green New Deal. More wealth, more economic growth. When I was in college in the late 70s, I was studying steady state economics or zero growth economics. And I haven't even heard an environmental organization mention that phrase in decades. And for us to get to the required 90% economic shrinkage that we need for any chance to save life on this planet, first we need to get to zero. We have to stop growing. Step one, stop. The opposite is happening.
That was good.
We're in a remarkable moment on planet Earth. Somebody's coming through.